Steam hits your face. Beneath the cheese, gray edges reek of rot. Health inspectors call it meat unfit for human consumption, yet it's still hitting trays. Past date, left warm for hours, or scraped from yesterday's scraps. First stop, the red roof where toppings never die. They just get renamed and reheated for your pleasure. Under Pizza Hut's red roof sits the cooler of second chances. Door groans. Thermometer flashes 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Pepperoni, 5 days late, sweats like it heard the inspector's shoes. Sausage logs lounge with the same clammy sheen, not a tad warm. 45 degrees Fahrenheit is bacteria's happy hour. The make line tells on itself. The slicer wears a stubborn red-brown film. Freezer-burned crusts flake like old paint. Pepperoni sticks to your fingers with a cold, oily grip. Sausage rounds don't crumble. They bounce, gummy in the middle like meat marshmallows. You can smell the stale meat perfume before the pie hits the cutter. But here's where it gets chewy. A whistleblower photo set shows a hotel pan of recycled toppings, Sharpie label and all, waste management. Translation: returned pizza gets scraped, bagged, frozen, and resurrected tomorrow. Staff forms echo the policy in plain English. Reuse unless it smells off. That isn't thrift. That's a trust fall with your gut. Inspectors in Indiana logged pepperoni and sausage 5 days past their use by in a 45 degrees Fahrenheit cooler. At that temp, germs don't nap, they sprint. Still, those toppings rode straight onto pies because tossing them would blow the $7.99 any large specials. Shave a rule here, trim an edge there, and your slice picks up the tab. Veggie fans don't victory lap. An environmental working group report flagged suppliers for cross-contamination. Frozen peppers stored beside leaking meat. Your lighter order might have toured a chicken juice spa 2 states away. Farm to table, please. This is semi-truck to stomach. Wait till you hear the house fixes. One manager memo bragged about trimming gray edges off meats before service. Another line, recover toppings from returns when feasible. The oven can give color. It can't give safety. Meanwhile, that slicer, if it still turns, the meat still earns, an X-line cook joked. Funny, right up until the burps fight back. Quick stack, one punch. Expired meats, warm coolers, recycled toppings, 3 shortcuts, 1 stomach. Let's talk textures you'll actually meet. Freezer-burned crust with a chalky bite that crumbles like stale crackers. Pepperoni that leaves a slick, greasy fingerprint you can practically see your reflection in. Sausage that chews like a pencil eraser, gummy and stubborn. The sauce tries to sweet-talk your taste buds into ignoring the truth, but it can't hide the bland funk that lingers. Your tongue keeps the receipts, and your stomach files the complaint before the box even hits the trash. Ready for the midnight remix? Late shift gets wilder. Orders spike, audits don't. The waste management. Pan empties faster than the tip jar. A pan lid claps shut, another pizza gets a secondhand sprinkle. By close, the cooler looks tidy. Your gut, less so. Creative stat, the way your stomach hears it. 45 degrees Fahrenheit isn't grace, it's growth on fast forward. At that temp, bacteria aren't just multiplying, they're hosting a block party with free drinks. In 1 hour, you've got more microbial friends than you'd ever invite. Even if they brought dessert, bet you've seen worse, prove it in 1 line. Name the most suspicious topping that returned to your plate and lived to tell the tale. End punch, clean and cold. That slice isn't comfort, it's deja vu with extra germs. Deadpan napkin fold. Eyes up. That's just the first course. Wait until the clock turns into a secret ingredient in your taco. Taco Bell. When the clock turns traitor, metal pan scrapes. Steam hisses up. This meat should have punched out 5 hours ago, but here it is, slumped in the warmer like it's paying rent. Food safety rules? Just background noise over the salsa music. At some Taco Bells, the solution for meat past its safe window is genius in the worst way. Mix it with fresh. Stir until the old disappears into the new, and boom, yesterday's taco filling gets a new birthday. Customers can't smell the calendar. Ever had deja vu for dinner? And that seasoned beef? In 2011, lab tests found it was only 35% actual beef. The rest was oats, soy, and mystery fillers. Basically a protein smoothie you can chew. Taco Night, Meat Science Fair Project. Suppliers have been caught storing raw and cooked meats close enough to swap phone numbers. That's how beef gets a side of raw chicken juice, an unadvertised marinade. Ex-employees say the standing order was, if it doesn't smell bad, it's fine, which is adorable since bacteria doesn't come with a scented candle. Health inspectors have logged warmers holding food way past limits. One case linked to a small outbreak from time-abused meat. On the line, it's worse up close. Gray edges shaved off and stirred back in. A greasy, rainbow sheen spreading over the pan. Steam carrying that weird chemical note, like taco mix and bleach had a baby. Tortillas soak it in, sealing the scent like it's part of the recipe. 5 hours isn't about right. It's the last bus before bacteria throws a rave in your gut. Miss that bus, and you're hosting an after-party no one wants. Hungry yet, or just nervous? Sauce, lettuce, and sour cream mask it enough that you can eat without noticing. But your body knows, and it's already filing a complaint. What's the nastiest taco you've ever unwrapped? Bonus points if it had a color not found in nature. Live mass? More like live, maybe. From mystery beef to meat naps, time to meet roast beef that sleeps under a lamp until sunrise. Arby's. Roast beef waits under amber bulbs until the edges turn leathery and the center goes gummy. Slices shine with that stale meat perfume, little beads of grease pooling like sweat. A health inspector's note from one site said it flat out, visibly dried, pooling grease still served. Twice the safe window means twice the microbial guest list. Arby's sells deli vibes. What you get is a slicer with brown smear rings and a crust that peels like old tape. Staff forums described a routine that should make your jaw lock. Carve, hold longer, and when the rush dies, wrap whatever's left. A shift supervisor memo kept it simple. Wrap remaining slices, reheat first thing. Breakfast of champions? No, yesterday's nap reheated under a sun lamp. And the cooler story is worse. Franchise pressure does the steering. Food cost targets hover like a hawk, tossing a half pan of beef-dense margins, keeping it just a little longer, saves the day until it wrecks someone's night. Workers joke that the heat lamp is the real manager. It never blinks, never clocks out, and never says, hey, maybe don't. Then there's the supply side. Reports claimed contracted facilities stored cooked beef near raw product, close enough to share air and accidents. Picture tubs of ready-to-slice roast resting beside raw bins, separated by faith and a flimsy label. Cross-contact turns a carvery into roulette. You won't taste the paperwork. On the line, the fix is cosmetic. Trim the gray edges thin, fan the slices, drown with au jus. The bath hides the dryness, the bulb hides the timeline, and the bun does the gaslighting. By the time it hits your table, the sandwich smells like nostalgia and cafeteria steam. Bite, chew, wonder why the texture fights back. You won't believe what fresh means at 10 p.m. Employees on staff forums swap survival tips. Keep the stack tall so the top stays moist. Rotate the bottom to the top so no piece looks too tired. Flip the slicer speed so the ragged rim won't show. If the meat's edges look too gray, trim them just enough to fool the customer, then bury them under a fresh-looking slice. It's less about serving good food and more about staging a photo for the world's saddest catalog. That's not craft, that's camouflage with a side of denial. Inspector logs don't do poetry, but the pictures do. Shriveled ends, oily halos, and heat-lined zebra stripes across beef that's been sunbathing all afternoon. 7 hours under glass isn't holding, it's tanning leather. What's the worst roast beef sandwich you've opened? Bet you've seen worse. Describe the look and the smell in one sentence. Think burgers are safer? Watch how fast next day turns into now. The sign promises quality. The slicer hum says, again. You came for a deli moment. You got a museum exhibit. Beef, day 2, displayed under warm lights with a gift shop of sauces on the side. If your lunch needs a stage light to look alive, it's telling you something. You're not ordering lunch. You're doing a trust fall with your gut. Beef still hanging in there? Let's see what happens when the world's biggest burger chain plays calendar games. At McDonald's, boxes sit on a cold dock, dates whispering from the labels. Inside, patties wear a powdery frost. Somewhere down the line, a grinder forgets the calendar and turns last week into today. Undercover footage from a scandal-linked McDonald's supplier showed workers scraping mold, scooping fallen meat off the floor, and tossing it back into the mix like nothing happened. That isn't fresh. That's time travel with bacteria as your tour guide. Just in time is great until it isn't. Just in time fails mean just in case food poisoning. At the restaurant level, the clock becomes optional. A crew trainer recalled the rule of rush hour. If it looks fine, grill it. Frozen patties near their date? Onto the flat top. Frost-bitten edges sweat as they thaw, leaving a rainbow sheen in the tray. The spatula drags through it and comes up striped. Flip, press, serve, smile. Here's the line that gets crossed. Reports from staff forums described expired frozen boxes quietly rotated to the front when the lunch wave hits. Because throwing them out hurts margins, or grilling them hurts you. Managers check appearance, not time. Smell test? Meat at 34 degrees Fahrenheit doesn't always smell wrong. It just goes quiet until it doesn't. Back upstream, the pressure is worse. Plant supervisors face quotas and a mountain of close-date inventory. Repackaging happens in the shadows. New wrap, Fresh print, same tired protein. It's called reducing waste. Translators call it resetting the clock. Your burger doesn't know it's on overtime. Your stomach will. The horror isn't loud. It's small details. A thaw pan that looks like motor oil with glitter. Patties that bend before they snap. A grill line wiped with the same towel all day, leaving a faint brown tattoo on the metal. One worker in undercover footage flicks a gray bit off a patty, then nudges it under the cheese like a magician palming a coin. Poof! Problem solved. Until 3 a.m. Corporate playbooks preach rock-solid systems. Outback reality cheats. When trucks are late and sales are high, the flowchart turns into improv. Old meets new in the same bin. It'll cook out, someone says as if heat erases math. 2 hours safe, 4 hours risky, 8 hours, that's feeding time for something else. Got standards? Sure. Got secrets? Also yes. Have you ever tasted Grey Day meat? What gave it away first, smell or chew? If you've ever unwrapped a burger and seen freezer freckles under the grill marks, you know the look. It's the patty equivalent of a bad spray tan, patchy, uneven, and trying way too hard to look fresh. And yes, that Tray Juice Rainbow has a flavor. It's the taste of shortcuts, cold storage, and the kind of trust you can't cook back. That patty? Still wearing last week's freezer burn? Prefer your patties flame-kissed? Sure, if you don't mind the calendar being charred right along with them. Burger King. The flame can't fix a calendar. The menu says beef. Lab says otherwise. The patties didn't get the memo. The crown at Burger King shines while the label sweats. That famous char? Nice perfume, bad cover-up. Across the ocean, the horse meat scandal kicked the door in. DNA test tagged a major supplier with not-so-beef and 100% beef patties. Corporate insisted U.S. stores were clean, but the global supply web raised hard questions. One chain, many warehouses, and a lot of hope that paperwork could outrun reality. Here's the stunt you didn't see. Inside the store, the calendar plays second string. Ex-manager note on a prep board. Scrape, flame, serve, don't toss. Gray edges get shaved like a bad haircut and pushed back to the grill. Overnight, some locations refreeze what thawed. Morning crew pulls the box, acts surprised, and fires it again. That's not prep, that's meat Groundhog Day. Inspection logs told the same story with fewer adjectives. Warmers holding patties 4+ hours while the lunch rush came and went. The patty turned sleepy, then leathery, then something else. 4 hours in the warmer, more sauna than food safety. The visuals do the talking. Freezer-burned crust that flakes like paint, campfire cologne sprayed by the flame broiler to mask day 2 funk, a patty weeping fat into an orange puddle that crawls across the tray. You didn't order soup, but here we are. Aggressive promos squeeze every corner. Deep discount Whopper days mean managers treat the timer like a suggestion. Hold longer, flip less, sell first. A shift lead told staff, if it's not falling apart, it's fine. Translation: the clock bends before the budget does. When smoke becomes makeup, suppliers don't help the trust issue. Warehouses juggle shipments, and when orders slow, cases linger. That fresh box can spend extra time praying the thermometer stays honest. Back of house adapts, scrape, flame, serve. Don't ask, don't smell, move the line. There's also the refreeze shuffle. Thaw for the rush, refreeze at close, repeat. Ice crystals chew the fibers, so the bite turns rubbery, then mealy. Add a long hold under amber bulbs, and you've got a burger with a tan and no pulse. Char lines can't hide a calendar. One more note from the logs. Cooks parked stacks of patties in the cabinet while tickets piled up. By the time yours reached the board, the bun wore an orange halo. The cheese slumped into the puddle, and the meat tasted like yesterday's campfire kissed a tire. One state, one store. Who's serving day 2 Whoppers? Name the city. Craving chicken instead? Careful. That fryer timeline can look like a family tree, every branch older than you want. So yes, have it your way. Just don't ask what day. And the buckets? They wait longer than you do. Meat chicken that's been sweating under glass longer than you've been awake. The lamp is not a time machine. At KFC, chicken glows under heat lamps like a museum piece. 12 hours on display, waiting for a visitor brave enough to buy it. The skin looks crisp until you touch it. Then it crackles, breaks, and the inside greets you with a clammy handshake. Heat lamp marathons aren't an accident. Corporate pushes stores to move chicken before the clock runs out, and sometimes the solution is to just stretch the clock. 6 times the 2-hour food safety limit. Think of it as a buffet for bacteria, only the buffet's locked behind glass and humming under a bulb. Here's the part no one says out loud. That crispy leg? It might have been fried, cooled, refrigerated, and fried again. In some kitchens, it's been re-refried. The breading gets harder with each cycle, the meat softer in the worst way. One ex-cook called it chewing on a wet paper towel in a crunchy coat. Supplier issues don't help. Raw chicken stored just above safe temps, slick to the touch, with a faint, sour drift. Staff forum posts told of rinsing the slime, breading it, and dropping it in hot oil like the problem just boiled away. Spoiler, it doesn't. Inspectors have their own language for this stuff. Darkened, oily, visibly drying. Translation: it's dying slowly under a lamp and you're about to pay for the funeral. One manager affidavit spelled it out. Toss =sign write-up. Sell =sign silence. You don't make friends at work by throwing away inventory. You make peace by making it disappear into a bucket. When crunch turns to sponge, the fryer fog clings to the air, coating your throat. Reheated breading tastes like regret, burnt in places, bland in others. A weird mix of salt and sadness. That famous 11 herbs and spices can't save a thigh that's sweating under glass from sunrise to closing shift. The numbers tell the same story. 12 hours under heat lamps, sometimes longer if the night crew saves it for tomorrow. By then, the meat fibers have surrendered entirely, slumping into a gray, mealy paste hiding under a crust that's still trying to look proud. It's like a taxidermy project for chicken, posed, glossy, and absolutely lifeless. Bite in, and it collapses like wet cardboard wearing a crispy Halloween costume. One ex-line cook joked that the only fresh thing at the station was the coleslaw, and even that had yesterday's date on it most of the time. So tell me, describe the worst bucket you've ever opened. Color, smell, and that first bite. I bet someone here has a story that beats this. Looking for fresh after this? Careful. That label doesn't always mean the bird saw a fryer today. That drumstick? Still sweating from last night. Now meet the fresh sign that learned to lie. KFC's heat lamp marathon ends, and Subway takes the baton, serving fresh meat that's just yesterday in new clothes. Subway needs a new dictionary for fresh. The egg patty is half real, half lab, pressed into a perfect oval of wishful thinking. It looks like breakfast, but it's basically a science project with grill marks. The chicken clocks in at 53% actual meat. The rest, a cocktail of fillers, flavor enhancers, and whatever keeps it looking like chicken until you've paid. Franchise owners live under a constant squeeze, profits razor thin, corporate breathing down their neck. Nothing dies on time. Meat past its date, slap on a fresh sticker, hide it behind newer stock, and sell it by lunch. Crew DMs leaked with gems like, change the sticker, move the bin to the back. That's not quality control. That's hide and seek for bacteria. Watch what happens to the sticker. An inspection in one U.S. store caught deli trays kept overnight at unsafe temps. Think watery turkey slices stacked like damp construction paper, roast beef darkening at the edges like a bad bruise, and ham giving off a faint sour perfume. This isn't tossed, it's just repacked, sometimes with a decorative lettuce leaf to distract you. And then there's the spa treatment. Spoiled meats get a rinse to wash off the slime before they're layered into your sandwich. It doesn't smell fresh, it smells neutral. The olfactory equivalent of a crime scene cleanup. You bite in thinking moist. The meat is thinking second life. The sauces tell their own story, those squeeze bottles, crusty rims, sticky sides, and a faint tang from weeks of service without a proper scrub. Chipotle mayo that's more Chipotle memory. Ranch with a yellow halo from dried residue. One local report flagged bins of chicken stored above safe temperatures. Translation: you're eating bacteria's Airbnb. And when that 53% chicken ratio meets the 47% question mark, you've got a sandwich that's part lunch, part lottery ticket. Here's the part no one says out loud. Some veggies outlive staff schedules. Tomatoes so soft they collapse into sauce the moment the knife touches them. Lettuce that's technically green but smells like it's rehearsing for compost duty. Cucumbers with skin intact but flavor swapped for fridge air. And yes, the bread is better than the yoga mat chemical era, but better doesn't mean good. Sometimes it's so overproofed it collapses under its own weight before you take the first bite. And if the bread bin runs low, day-old loaves from the morning get reheated to reset them. A former sandwich artist in a staff forum summed it up. The only fresh thing in my store was the smell of the mop water. Another admitted to seeing the same tray of tuna get fluffed with mayo for 3 straight days. This isn't an occasional slip, it's a system. The corporate waste policy punishes tossing food harder than it punishes serving it late. So the food stays. The dates stretch, and the sticker lies. So here's my challenge to you. Build a one-line sandwich horror in the comments. 10 words, maximum menace. Make it something you wouldn't want to smell, see, or bite into. Bonus points if it rhymes. Because the next time you see Eat Fresh glowing above the counter, remember, fresh is not a feeling. Fresh is a timestamp. And some timestamps are faker than the grill marks on that egg patty. Food should fuel you, not test your immune system. Like, subscribe, and drop your sharpest fast food horror below. One line, no mercy. Want safer swaps and receipts next? We've got them coming. Leave the leftover roulette to someone else. Feed yourself like you're worth it.